everybody, I got some breaking news for you. It's looking very likely that Global Tetrahedron will seize control of InfoWars in the coming days.
It finally happened. My former employer, The Onion, finally owns InfoWars. This has been like a year and a half coming. A long, protracted legal battle with Alex Jones, and it's finally come to a close. Now it's time for me to call up my former employer for an interview. Yo, it's Travis. I used to work there like 6 years ago. Y'all got time for an interview about the Alex Jones thing? Excuse me? Well, that didn't go quite as planned. Yes, it turns out I'm not popular enough yet on YouTube for it to be worth it for the new owners of The Onion to talk to me, because frankly, they don't know who I am. I didn't work there when Ben Collins owned it. I got laid off by the previous owners, Great Hill Partners. So, you know, they've forgotten how important I am. So that means over the next couple of months, we gotta change that, which is where you come in, like and subscribe. The exact response I got was, we're being very selective about who we speak to and who represents us. Which is basically saying, Travis, you're not popular enough to represent us. So step one to reacquiring my standing with my former employer is this video. We're gonna take a look at Alex Jones's reaction to The Onion buying his baby, and him discovering Tim and Eric for the first time and seemingly having a meltdown. Or is he? Honestly, I've thought for like a while that Alex Jones was a CIA plant. That's why he's never been taken down. I'm not alone in thinking this either.
Alex Jones has always been a f***ing psyop.
If Alex Jones didn't exist, the CIA would invent him.
Which makes it so fascinating that this has finally happened. Like, I legitimately didn't think it was gonna happen. I thought he would weasel his way out of this forever and never have to pay anybody any money because he had ties to the government and the CIA. I guess I was wrong. Alex Jones is either one of the greatest method actors of all time or one of the most unhinged lunatics of all time. Or more likely, both. Nobody can go for hours and hours like Jones. Now, the first clip I saw of Alex Jones reacting to Tim Heidecker taking over his job is this one, where he's like shirtless and seemingly wandered into the studio at random to accost the host in the middle of a broadcast.
You can't take something over and then act like you're somebody, even if you say it's a parody. You can do a parody of somebody, but none of you took something from them. Right. We've already checked with lawyers, so they're in deep shit. I'm already suing the Democrat Party law firms, already got civil rights lawsuits. Look, just because you're wearing my shirt, don't mean you're me. So let's be 100% clear about that. And so you guys just keep laughing.
Sale of Alex Jones' InfoWars to The Onion rejected, and I'll get into this and
So but yeah, they need to be us to confuse people. By the way, it's a total failure. It goes, oh, we're the 5th biggest newspapers. That's a lie. Newspapers are all dead. Charlie Kirk, remember when he died, they said, we're gonna misrepresent fake quotes of him. This is what the left do. They try to silence you, then they misrepresent who you are. They're body snatchers. They're skinwalkers. They literally take your skin. This is gonna backfire big time, folks.
Peak Alex Jones. For a while, I thought Alex Jones was like doing a bit, you know? And surely he knows at this point what The Onion is. They've only been trying to acquire his company for over a year. He must be familiar with their style of humor by this point. Has he done any research into them and what they do? According to Ben Collins in an interview he didn't do with me, conservatives have like kind of no idea what The Onion is or why it's funny.
The whole point in all of these things, not to be pedantic about satire, but like in the humor, in the sacred topic that you seem to be defiling, you're actually revealing something fundamentally interesting and useful about us, in which the person being made fun of is not one of the most traumatized victims you can imagine, but it's often incredibly powerful people in institutions.
I did kind of notice that with some of my family members, where they knew that I worked at like a comedy website, but they didn't really know what the comedy was all about. For instance, apparently Fox News reported as fact that The Onion reaches
4.3 trillion daily readers, which is on our website somewhere, but I don't even know where. It's not even on the About section. I don't know where they found that.
Guys, think about those numbers for a second. That many people don't exist. There's only 8 billion people in the world. And that's what makes this so funny. They simply cannot grasp this humor. So to them, it becomes this like projection of what they believe, because all they do every day is spew the stuff that they allegedly believe. I think it breaks a conservative's brain to say things that you don't actually mean.
And they're gonna have a satire site where they pose as me and say, I'm a criminal, and they're gonna tell outrageous lies, saying it's satire, and then attribute it to me. They've already said this before, but they say it even more here.
It's called satire, you f***ing beefy prick.
In a recent video I did over on my 3rd channel with my Bernie Sanders puppet, I talked to a person in an inflatable eagle costume about exactly this.
The costumes look pretty damn stupid, and that's the point. Point is, you interrupt the rhetoric that the far right is spewing. It looks ridiculous to attack protesters who are wearing, you know, giant inflatable frogs, unicorns. Both sides take themselves pretty seriously, but I think the left takes themselves slightly less seriously.
So true, because like back in the election, it was like Tim Walz was saying like calling them weird was the most effective insult because they just don't know how to handle it.
They take themselves so seriously.
Yeah.
It must be exhausting going through life without a sense of humor.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are.
I'm the InfoWar. You are the InfoWar. And that's who we are.
I want to get to all of Alex's reactions to this because they're they're funnier than I thought they were going to be, I think. I really am surprised where he went with it.
All right, in case you didn't know already, Alex Jones did an entire stream where he was watching Tim and Eric videos, specifically their Steve Mahanahan's Child Clown Outlet videos. I guess I get why he's so confused. It's some of the weirdest stuff that Tim and Eric's ever produced.
I want to warn viewers right now that you're about to see absolutely horrific, disturbing information. And this is aired on national cable television many years ago. But listeners began last night to send our news director, Rob Dew, clips of the individual who is saying he's taking over InfoWars next week and who says he can do my voice, and I guess he's bald-headed, so he's going to say he's me to discredit me and put out lies to hurt me, and that he, quote, is stealing my job and my identity.
It's called satire, you fucking beefy prick.
So because Alex Jones doesn't understand humor, what he thinks this is a psychic projection of the depraved inner thoughts of the people making this video to try and push these ideas onto an unsuspecting populace.
Now you can take one look at these guys, deranged demons. You just look at them. When they send the lawyers to these cases, they cackle and laugh and rub their hands together like demons. I mean, you have to go see it. My lawyers are like, what is up? They feel like demons. They are demons. That is who's crawled up out of hell to do this. And the graininess of it, the sickeningness of it, the children, and all the symbolism when you know what they're doing, and the simulated murder of children, and kidnapping them and loading them on ships, then using them up, and all this. When you study the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, this is it.
I don't know. After this clip, I was like, oh, he's doing a bit. He doesn't actually like believe any of this. He's just banking on his followers not to actually watch or understand any of Tim and Eric's humor and like buy fully into it. But then I put myself into the shoes of somebody like 15 years ago who just discovered Tim and Eric. Back when that stuff was originally coming out, like nobody understood the humor. It was like you got it or you didn't.
They might get tired and try to rest.
You gotta keep them awake. Go ahead, use my horn.
That's part of mind control. Sleep deprivation for children. MK Ultra.
Real quick, remember what the guy who's not me said about satire. The victims, the child clowns, are not the joke. The awfulness of the Mahanahan family is the joke.
My child clowns are blind, they'll eat anything.
Jeffrey Epstein, how to get a baby to nurse on their penis.
He's seeing the bones of the joke, but the meat's all wrong. This is because conservative humor is entirely based in punching down. Alex Jones treats everything that he does as deadly serious, even if we treat him as just a big dumb joke. When he's joking, he's punching down at the sheeple, right? He does stuff like this.
Liberal, 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 happy fun, la la la, human smuggling, fentanyl deaths, forced government euthanasia, chopping up children's genitals, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
He's not interested in interrogating any of those things, only using them to sell you dick pills. That paper tiger brand of humor is entirely based on projections of power, punching down at the little guy and laughing about it. Bully stuff. This is what Alex Jones thinks is funny.
If you want to get defeated, you came to the right place. And you can't stop the signal, no matter how hard you try. So you think this is my Waterloo? I haven't felt like I'm 20 since I was 20, and I do right now. So just knock yourself out, bro. Knock yourself out.
Okay, bud. This is an obvious problem when trying to analyze the Mahanahan clown videos. Alex doesn't get the joke because he doesn't identify with the clowns. He identifies with the Mahanahan family. So before we watch Alex Jones struggle to get the joke, let's make sure that we actually understand Tim and Eric's brand of humor first. When people in my life used to tell me that they didn't get Tim and Eric's brand of humor, I used to point them at this Medium article. I don't get it. A Guide to Tim and Eric for Mems and Peps by Kathy Fisher. In this blog post, Kathy constructs a triangle triangle around which we can start to piece together the structure of what Tim and Eric's style of humor is. At the heart is a governing concept, the ontological distance between 1. Modern professional television and film, 2. Local public access television, home video, online video, and any other non-professional thing that you could find on a screen, and 3. Real life. She uses this Richard Dunn skit, R.I.P., as an example of the layers of comedy at play that the viewer hopefully on some level picks up on. In the sketch, Richard Dunn plays the host of what's presumably a public access show about rock music. His guest is David Navarro of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, a real-life guitarist and bona fide famous person. So to summarize what she's saying a little bit, layer number 1 of the humor is the juxtaposition of this unprofessional old man next to a celebrity. This is not what you expect out of an interview with Dave Navarro. Layer 2 is when you start to question the infrastructure behind how this man, Richard Dunn, managed to book Dave Navarro for this interview. Next, you remember that this is actually a show within a larger show. Everything here actually has a big budget and is on cable television, and truly should not be. So this discomfort is intentional. And discomfort in humor is like a comedian's way of telegraphing to you that they want you to question something. Alex, keep that in mind, bud. Finally, layer 4 is when you start to see more of Richard Dunn in the larger project of Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job. He's this way in everything, and like not really acting, breaking your expectation of what an actor actually even is. Comedy is about juxtaposition, so the 3 things that make up her triangle are all juxtaposition points that you can draw on for comedy. Now, going back to Alex Jones, in Kathy's Medium article she writes, "There's no sense of, we're cool, but look at these losers. Loserdom is celebrated. Tim and Eric is all about embracing uncoolness. It frames fake tans and cap teeth as something hideous. Weirdos and outsiders are embraced for being unique and strange and interesting. Alex Jones does not celebrate loserdom. He looks at losers as people he can sucker into shelling out money for super male vitality. Again, he is the Mahanahan family, a person who desperately wants you to think what they're doing is cool. This is the opposite of what the show is celebrating, and thus, they only come off as increasingly unhinged freaks running a vile business. Just like Alex Jones at InfoWars. Welcome to the Mahana mirror, Alex. That's the joke that Alex Jones can't seem to get. Perhaps we'll never get. A tragic, humorless narcissist forever punching down at the bottom of the barrel. So with all that in mind, let's watch Alex Jones flounder in the face of a couple of savants.
So let's start with child clown outlet skits from the Cartoon Network. Tim and Eric, Awesome Show, Great Job. Show's written by Tim Heidecker, the guy that's taking over, who says he can talk like me. They made several skits about child clown ritual services where kids are shipped, trafficked to homes, used as slaves, each one getting worse in
We're going out of business. Time to close up shop. I touched a clown. Now I'm going to jail. I touched.
So now they got to kill the babies because they might speak. This is nice people taking over InfoWars. Here we go.
Ow!
Yeah, kick the baby, attack the baby. It's a clown. It's okay.
My father forced me into this child clown business. I hate him, but I love my brother.
Rest in peace, boo-boo. Pause. It's all about the pedophiles have been forced to. Most of them were themselves. They're telling you everything. Let's keep going.
Down. Sit down on my head.
Hey, pause. Back it up. This is Will Ferrell now into the ball outlet where you get your kids and torture them to death. Let's continue. This is Seth Atkins. Here it is.
I keep my seed in tubes and plastic bags. Put it
Talk about semen and pause. Phallic symbol. Again, they're all about fresh kids to That's a big thing with them. Let's continue.
Look, I'm a clown breeder. It's in my blood. It's in my balls.
Yeah, pause. They say clowns are children. He's a child breeder. Continue. It's all about how the elite has to deal with the wranglers.
Oh, not a good time right now. I'm gonna have to bury him in the back if he keeps acting like
And
this.
pause. Real baby, a year and a half old. I'm gonna have to kill this baby because it's crying. They're bragging to you, and they're taking over InfoWars. They say that's who they are. That's the Onion. The guy that's taking over, the main Onion guy, is the writer for this. Continue. Oh, they're on an island. Kids.
You gotta buy tickets.
What is this? 10 years old? What's the date of this, guys? Look it up.
Come on down, Steve Ahead, had shotgun crows. Behind closed doors, you do what you like.
Adult Swim 10 years ago.
It's called satire, you beefy prick.
But that's who we're up against. So if you don't support us, thealexjonesstore.com, you are literally backing the demons of hell.
It's dumb. He just like is telling on himself that he doesn't know what comedy is, or he's intentionally playing ignorant to what comedy is to try and sell you some t-shirts.
I designed this, the Betsy Ross flag with 250 on it. Semi-quintennial. That means 250, baby. America's birthday with badass hats as well. InfoWars is 28 years old. America's 250. And look at the back of this clean shirt. USA 250, 1776 forever. Look, just because you're wearing my shirt, don't mean you're me.
Now, after Tim and Eric ended, Tim Heidecker has been on an absolute streak. I think On Cinema just ended, something that I used to watch religiously back in the day. His 2020 stand-up special is maybe one of the best breakdowns of like, I think he's doing like an impersonation of Rob Schneider.
Shut up for a second. This whole fucking place has been a nightmare. I've been here since 6 in the morning, teching this goddamn show, and everybody here, I'm talking the camera guys, the people that work here, have been treating me like shit from the minute I got here.
But it's one of the best encapsulations of right-wing comics that I have ever seen put to film. It's unhinged and uncomfortable and completely skewers the type of people who think that they can just like go up on stage and be mean and that's funny. You can be mean and funny, but most people can't pull that off very well.
You know, and he's a Mexican guy. And I said, "Are you okay?" You know, and he said, "I'm afraid that ICE is going to take me back to Mexico." And I felt like, wow, that's awful. Because these are the people that we want in this country. You know, people are working really hard. Then he completely screwed up my lunch and was like, "Get this guy out of here."
This is why I think Tim Heidecker is like the perfect replacement for Alex Jones. He is also one of our generation's greatest method actors. He does not break. He can hold these ridiculous, unhinged characters over like entire conversations and improv sessions.
He is an expert at this. He has a Joe Rogan parody that goes on for 14 hours, but they don't say anything.
He's really been crafting the perfect anti-character to like an Alex Jones for almost his entire career now. Daytime crazy person podcasts have really replaced the daytime television of the 90s and 2000s. Like Dr. Phil went from Dr. Phil to Dr. Phil. Ugh. A lot of Tim Heidecker's comedy is like based in parodying those types of people.
You're doing a good Alex Jones is right here, right where the microphone's at. You're doing it right, you don't even feel the gravity.
Now he said something in an interview with Sam Cedar that I found very interesting.
Did you apply for this job?
No, they reached out to me for my 2 cents about if they caught the car, what should they do with it? And we just kept talking about it. And I thought if The Onion took over InfoWars, it would be funny for about 3 months, and then it would just be over. You know, there's just only so much runway you got with that kind of humor. We're just gonna like turn into one of these comedy streaming sites that keep failing, but we keep trying. A space for funny people to make stuff and give them money, which feels like a really funny overall joke at the end of the day. If like, you know, InfoWars is the premier source for trans comedy.
Also, he can bring up young comedians. A big thing that's been missing, I think everybody feels this way. There's just nothing funny on TV anymore. There's not a lot funny in movies or whatever. People aren't taking any risks. Tim knows the people who will take big risks, and we want to, you know, embolden him, give him some space, give him a set, give him a whole ham. I don't know, maybe he'll do something with that. Just give him some time to go nuts, and that's what the new InfoWars is going to be.
All right, Ben, if you're watching, and you might actually be, Tim said these things keep failing, but why is that? It's because of this platform right here, YouTube. Listen to what Noah Hawley, the creator of Alien Earth and the Fargo TV series, recently had to say. You're producing films and TV for hundreds of millions of dollars and losing eyeballs every day to things that are free. Our biggest competition is YouTube, which spends $0 to make anything. If I'm spending $150 million to $170 million to make a season of Alien, that's a lot of money. And it sounds like this is already the plan, but if you're gonna make a streaming service, don't just throw a bunch of money at celebrities to make content for you like Quibi did. Lure people to your platform who already would be making content for it for free by just like paying to produce their content. I think that's how all the YouTubers who try and sell me on Nebula say it's set up. In my opinion, that's the successful model. I don't know, Dropout just feels like an anomaly to me. It feels like that should be going the way of Rooster Teeth right now. What you shouldn't do is turn it into like a Daily Wire parody. I don't know if anybody's got enough money to fund a bunch of internet trolls to make their own pet projects like the Pendragon Cycle. But Ben, if you do want to waste a bunch of money on a satirical fantasy series that'll tank the company, I got ideas. If you need a Ben Shapiro for your comedy network, hit me up. Anyway, there's more speculation to be done, but also more videos to make, because this one video alone is not gonna get me enough subscribers to interview Ben Collins at The Onion alone. I need to keep making videos like this, and exploiting the fact that I used to work for The Onion, and you need to keep subscribing so that I get enough clout to interview Ben Collins over at my former employer, The Onion, and maybe speak to one of my heroes, Tim Heidecker. Let's make this happen.
Oh, don't call me sir, why don't you call me daddy? Say yes, daddy.
Yes, Daddy. You call me your daddy. I'm taking your son. Let's see what this Dumbo's doing.
We have to understand that. At first, we have to come. Believe me, it's going to make you feel real good.
All right, he's had his 10 seconds of fame.
Anyhow, it's been a great launch. We're excited. Onion is on fire. I couldn't be happier. Everybody, Rolling Stone, Time Magazine, NPR, PBS, NBC, they're all sucking on my dick.
Libra, la la la, happy fun, human trafficking, fentanyl death. And I did 5 years of improv and I still break.